Okay, thank you everyone for joining. And sorry, I was traveling last week, so I could not take the session that time. So it was postponed to today. So are there any queries from the previous session? Or is there anyone who is joining for the first time and was not gone through the session recordings earlier? We'll try to recap certain points or certain concepts that we discussed in the previous session. Yeah, so please feel free to ask any queries you may have, and we'll try to solve them together. Okay. Okay, so can someone please confirm if you are able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So let's get started. The topics that we have covered so far include variables in Python, like how we can declare variables, what are the rules for declaring variables, and then we went on to seeing certain inbuilt functions that are there in Python, like print, input, and some other functions like type, len, and so on. And then we saw how you can add comments to your code. There are different ways of adding code, like single line comment or multi-line comment. And then we went on to seeing data types in Python, which include integer data type, floating point, and string and boolean. Then we saw some operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, all these kind of operations that we could perform on different types of data types. And then we saw conditions in Python, the if, else, and else if. Then we went on to seeing loops in Python, for and while. And then we saw some statements like continue and break. And then we discussed a few concepts relating to lists. So are there any queries in these topics? Please feel free to ask because the later topics will be based on these topics. So if you don't understand anything, it will just cascade to the next topics. Yeah, so please feel free to ask any queries you may have. Okay. And even if you don't understand it now, you can anyway anytime go back and look at the recording, session recording. So the recordings will be available on the YouTube channel. So if you do not know, like those of you who are joining for the first time, let me share the YouTube channel link over here in chat. So all the session recordings will be uploaded over here. Just in case I'm not available, I'll communicate to you via the NPTEL team. So they will circulate an email setting if the sessions are getting postponed or preponed. Okay. So yeah, in case you are missing any of the sessions, all the session recordings will be available online, and you can definitely ask any other queries on the discussion forum in the Swayam portal, or else you can clarify your queries in the later sessions. Okay, regarding membership. Okay, fine. I'll just come to that. Okay, apart from this, any other queries? Okay, fine. So let me come to the membership related query. So let's say we have a list. Say list is students, and it has five students: S1, S2, S3, S4, and S5. So if you want to check if a particular student is there in the list, you use this keyword called in. So let me write this. If Okay. So what this in operator over here, this keyword does is takes this string and compares it with all the strings in this given list. And if it matches with any of these entries, it will return a true value, and then this particular statement will be printed over here. So let me just run this. Okay, so just give it some time to connect. Yeah. Okay, so you can see over here, uh, this particular student or entry exists in this list. That's why the answer is yes. So if I were to write something uh, else over here, let's say S1, S7, so it will print no. So if a certain thing, so it need not be only strings. So you can even have, as I said, you can have integers, floating point, something else. You can even add a variable over here, like let's say, okay, let's not complicate it now, and so on. So you can even run it on any data type. So what it will do, it will just take this uh, input and see if it exists in the given list or not. Is that clear? Yeah, this is Google Colab. So I'm using it so that I can share these notebooks with you. You can create a copy of it and then play around with it. Okay. So Jugashmita, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Are there any queries from these topics? Okay, if not, we'll go on to discussing some more topics. Some of these were already discussed. We'll just touch upon them this week as well. So we'll see in list, we have already seen extend, append and extend last week. We'll just recap that. And after that, we'll see go on to 2D lists, multidimensional lists, and then how you can loop over the multidimensional list. And then uh, with this, we'll also discuss the nested loops and the nested conditions and some of the other operations that you can perform on the 2D lists. Okay, so I've already created some structured code over here, and we'll discuss that. Just in case you have any queries, please interrupt and uh, ask it right away. Okay, so earlier we saw like the if and else condition. So if certain condition is true, so like let's say variable x equal to 1, if x is 1, then print 1 elif x is 2, print 2 and else. Okay, so uh, this is an example of the if elif and else condition usage. What if you have multiple conditions? Like say if x is 1 and you want to check some more conditions on that. So in that case, what you can do is you can use nested if conditions. For example, over here. So you have two variables. I hope the screen is visible. Can someone please confirm? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So here you have two variables, x1 equal to 10 and y equal to 5. So I'm checking the condition. If x is greater than 0, print x is positive. Now I want to put some condition on y as well. So after checking for x, so if x is greater than 0 and if y is greater than 0, print y is also positive, else y is not positive. Else, if x is not greater than 0, we'll print x is not positive and not do any checking on y. Okay, so this is a simple example. Let me just run this. So x is equal to 10. So this particular condition will be true. It will go inside this if block and then print this particular statement, which is over here. Okay, now it will check this condition on y. So this is nested inside this outer if statement block. Okay, so it's going inside, checking this condition. If it is true, it will print this, else it will print this. Okay, so now since y is also positive, this particular statement is being printed. And then once it is done, it will just come out of this if else block. Okay, it won't look into this else statement and this else statement as well. So this was straightforward. Is it clear? You can have any level of nesting. So let's say I can also put if x is greater than 4. Okay, I'll come to this, what exactly this is. Okay, so as I said, you will have to be very careful with indentation in Python. So as you indent or give spaces over here, that will be considered within the scope of the current block. Okay, so all these statements are within the scope of this particular if statement, and all the statement are under this else. Similarly, this entire block is within the scope of this particular if statement, and so on. Similarly, this is within the realm, context of this particular statement. So if I run this now, okay, so what is happening here? X is the condition is checked on X, it is greater than 0, it will print this. Now it is checked on Y, it is greater than 0, this is true, it will print this. Then it is checking if X is greater than 4. Yes, it is not. So this is not being printed over here. Then it is checking the Y condition of Y. If it is less than 10, yes, it is true. So Y is less than 10, and so on. So you can have any level of nesting inside this if uh, one single if statement. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you need not add else for the if statement as well. Like you can simply have this. So this you'll have to ensure that if there is no else over here, the other else should be, indented with the outer if block, if statement block. So for example, over here, if you were to write it like this, so this else will be associated with this particular if and not with this. Okay, so you'll have to be very careful while indenting your code. Yeah. So coming to this pass. So like we saw in the previous session, there were two keywords, continue and break. So continue was for continuing the loop execution when certain condition is met or not met. Let me just show that example again. So let's say x equal to 10 or while x is less than 20, if x is or if x modulo 10, sorry, 2 is 0, print x, else continue x equal to x plus 1. So let me just run this. Okay, let me just stop it. Let us keep this condition simple. If x is equal to 15, continue. Okay. Uh, Let me just try another example. Yeah, here's also a problem. Yeah. So what is happening over here? So if I in range 10, so it's going from 0 to 9. And then if a given condition is met, if I equal to 5, it will not execute anything uh, after this and simply continue to the next iteration. And then if it is not true, it will just come out of this and then print I. So you can see that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 is not printed and 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So this was the continue statement. And then if you want to put a break, like you don't want to, if a certain condition is met and you don't want to execute further, you can use break statement over here. So you can see that all these statements after I equal to 5 are not executed over here. Okay. So this was about continue and break. But in certain scenario, it might be the case that you don't have your code finalized. Let's say if you want to do something here, but you're not sure of what you exactly you want to do. So in that case, you can just simply write pass. So if you don't write anything here, so it will just throw an error. Let me just run this. It will show indentation error or something else. Let's say if you don't write this also. So it will give you syntax error or incomplete input. So you need to have something here once you declare LC in this case. But if you don't want, if you want to have this statement, but don't have anything else over here. So you can just simply write pass. Okay. So what it will do, it will just keep this as a placeholder code. It won't do anything. This is not going to execute anything. It is just to help with the syntax. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if else with pass is not given, that is also the same thing. Yeah. I just wanted to explain that if you are having this else, like you want to perform certain operation here, perform, oh, sorry, this is not a comment in C, perform certain operation over here. So you can just simply write pass for the time being, and then you can edit the code later. So that's the only purpose of this pass. Okay. So are there any queries? Is it clear how pass is used?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, great. So let us go back over here. Yeah. So coming to so we saw nested if statements, if else statements. Similarly, you can also have nested loops. For example, for I in range 3, for I j in range 2, print. So yes, this is something new that you will be learning in this. So in print, there is this format specifier, like format for formatting. So in this, if you want to print a value of a variable in the loop, you can either write like this, print, okay, I equal to str of I plus comma j equal to, let me just comment this out. So what is happening over here? I is going from 0 to 2, and then for each value of I, the j value is running or going from 0 to 1. Okay, it can be anything. So you can even have 5 over here. So in this case, it will go from 0 to 4. So let me run this. So I is going from 0 to 2, 0, 1, 2. And for each value of I, the j is changing from 0 to 4. So this particular statement is printing I equal to, and then there is this plus operator. Since this is an integer value, you cannot concatenate the integer value directly to string. So that's why we are converting it to string using this str option or function
Sir,
here.
your collab screen is not visible.
Oh my God, sorry. So sorry for that. I just realized it. Yeah, so what I was discussing, yes. So there is as we saw the nested if condition, if conditional statements. Similarly, you can have nested loops in Python. So what is happening over here? So the first loop, the outer loop, is running from for I from 0 to n minus 1. So whatever the value of n is over here. And then for each value of I, uh, the inner loop is running from 0 to m minus 1 or whatever value you are specifying in this range function over here. And then for each of this ij pair, we are trying to print the value of I and j. So one way is to print it using a string, uh, like you can create a string out of this integers by converting the integer to string and then concatenating this string with the other statement like this. So I equal to plus the string of this particular integer I plus this j equals to and then the string corresponding to the variable j. Okay, let me just run this out. So I is running from 0 to 2 and for each value of I, j is running from 0 to 4. So you can see I0, 0, I0, J0, I0, J1 and so on. Okay, but this is the little clumsy way to write this. What if you were to have like multiple variables here? So in that case, you can simply write print f. This f is used for formatting here. So, and then you'll have string, and in that I equal to curly braces I and curly braces j. So this will take the actual value of I and then convert it into string. Similarly, this curly braces j will take the j value and convert it into string. So let me just run this. This is also going to give me the same output. Okay. So once you specify it in this f string, so whatever values you are specifying, variables you're specifying as this, you know, in the curly braces, the value corresponding to that will be added over here. So if I were to just remove this f, so let me just run this. So it will just simply is print I equal to I, j equal to j. So it is not considering this curly brace as any operator. It is just taking at it as, the just the string, plain string. But if I write it like this, so it will consider this value of I and value of j over here in this case. Let me just run this. Okay. So is this clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry for that. Those of you, it is there, it will be there in the recording if you have missed that as well. Okay. Is there anyone who has any queries in this
No,
nested loop?
sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir,
So, mhm,
sir,
yeah.
why we're converting it to as a string? We can also print integer, na?
Yeah, you can also print integer, but if you want to have this string here, I equal to. So if you just print this, let me just comment this out. You can
Yes,
even
sir.
do this,
Yes, sir.
but in this case, you're just printing this. But if you want to have this statement, I equals to something and j equals to something. So in that case, you are bound to convert it to string.
So we use comma as concatenation.
Comma is content. No. So in that case, okay, let us try that out. Yeah,
Yes.
that can be done. So I equals to, you can write it like this, I equal to, let us try it
Yeah.
out.
Equal to space. Mhm.
Uh, so let us try. Even I am not sure how it will work. Yeah. Yeah. So this is working fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. But in
Yes,
this
sir.
case, I'm not sure why it's giving it like this. So I equal to 0, comma j equal to 0. Okay, I see. Because of this statement.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's working fine.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to add a comma over here, you can simply add it. So it is going to do the same job as it. But one thing is you'll have to notice that after this comma over here, it is going to add a space. So
Mm.
yeah, so in the other case, you are not, if you don't want any space, you'll have to specify it accordingly.
Yes, sir. Sir, before J we can put a comma na?
Yeah,
Before J.
you can do
Yeah.
like
Mm.
this, but okay, let us try this out. Oops.
Uh, sh- No.
Okay, just a second. Yeah, but this is bound to be there. Like after this value of I, there will be a space. So if you are separating
Because of
every value,
comma, yes.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah.
Because of comma,
So
that will be space.
because the separator in this case for each of the string of values is a comma, sorry, a space by default. One way you can
Yes,
do
sir.
is it will be complicated. You can just print this and then let us run this. So in this case, it is possible. Like you can do like this. So you can print I, and then if you don't write this end, it will print it on the next line. So I don't want that next line to come up. So you can just print this statement. So this is again like a clumsy way to write this simple statement like this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's the basic point I'm trying to make. So you can simply use this. Yeah, it all depends on the kind of code you want to write. And yeah, on case by case basis, you can select any of these options. Okay, so this was about the nested loops, nested for loops. You can even have nested for loops at any level. So let me show you. So I can have for k in range, let's say 2. Let me remove all this. Print I equal to brace I, j equal to brace j, and k equal to brace k, and run this. You can see for every value of I, there will be a loop for which will be running on j, and then for every value of j and I, there will be a loop running on k, and then you are printing I, j, and k. So you can see I is going from 0 to 2, j is going from 0 to 4, and k is going from 0 to 1. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is your query, one more? Okay, why it's printing the same thing 5 times? Okay, what is being printed 5 times? Sorry, I lost the context. In which what context did you ask that query? You can unmute yourself and ask. Yeah, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the query. I might not look at the. Okay. Oh, in this case, I equal to I and j equal to j. Oh, in that case, I think you are talking about this. Same thing is being printed. Sorry. So if I remove this f over here, is it what you are talking about? Yeah, please unmute. You can unmute yourself and ask. Yeah, it will be great, one more if you can unmute yourself and ask your query so that I can proceed with the other. Okay, sorry, I'm not getting the context in which you are labeled break, if which is in Java and Python. That is, we can break the outer loop by staying in the inner loop. I'm not aware of that, Chakradhar. So, okay, Manmohar, we can see it at towards the end of the session, like whatever query you have. Yeah, so I'm not sure of this concept of label break. Uh, I'm not so proficient in Java, but yeah, definitely I'll look into it and then let you know in the next session. Okay, great. Fine. So, for I in range 3, for j in range 5, for k in range 2, print I equal to I, j equal to j, k equal to k. Okay, so this is going over all this. So why are we studying these nested loops? So we will be looking into something called multidimensional lists now. And for that, you'll be needed to access them, the elements in the multidimensional list with the nested for loops or while loops. Okay, so we saw the nested loops first. Now we'll go on to the 2D lists. So in mathematics, you have this concept of matrices. So let's say you have this matrix. Okay, before going into the 2D list, similar kind of an looping can like nested looping can be done with the while loop as well. So here you're going from I equal to 1 to 3, and then from here you're going from j equal to 1 to 2, and then printing the value of I and j. So whatever you have written here in the for loop can be written as well in using the while loop construct, just that the syntax is a little
Sir,
different. Yeah.
Sir, your
sir,
screen is
code
not
editor is
visible.
not visible.
Oh, my bad. Sorry for that. Yeah. So what I was trying to say is whatever you wrote using the nested loops that you have written using for loop, you can write it using while loop as well, while construct as well. Only the difference is in the syntax over here. So you'll have to initialize the variable, then loop over it and increment the value. Make sure to increment the value of that particular variable so that it is incremented in every iteration, and then this condition is met at certain point. So if you don't write this increment condition or whatever condition you like, if you are decrementing the value, so you should be writing it over here explicitly in the case of while loop so that you come out of the loop and it doesn't run forever. Similarly, there is this inner while loop. For that, you have a variable declared over here. You're initializing it to a value, then looping over the later values like j equal to 1 to 2, and then incrementing the value of j inside the loop. Okay, so let me just run this. So it is going to print the same thing as we saw in the earlier case. Okay, sorry.
So whether you're presenting your screen, sir?
Oh, is it visible now?
No, sir.
Okay, yeah. So sorry for that. There's some technical issue over here on my end. Uh, so yeah. So what I was discussing is in the case of for loop, you uh, need not specify or initialize the variable, but in the case of while loop, you will have to explicitly initialize the variable and then uh, increment it inside the loop so that you meet the stopping condition. and then come out of the loop. So that's the only difference over here in the case of while and for. Okay. So let me just stop sharing and reshare it so that it is pinned. Okay, so let me just share the window directly. Okay, so when I'm switching the windows, are you guys able to see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Fine. So is this concept of nested loops clear? So nested for and nested while loop and the nested conditional statements.
Yes.
Yeah, if it is not,
Yes, sir.
please ask now. Okay, yeah. Please be there. I'll have to put my laptop on charging. Sorry for that. Okay, so we saw conditional, nested conditional statements, nested for loop, nested while loop. Now let us go on to discussing the lists, nested, multidimensional lists. So in mathematics, there is a concept of matrices. So is everyone aware of what a matrix is? Is there anyone who doesn't know what matrix is? Can someone please respond? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. I know matrix.
Okay, thank you. So a matrix is nothing but a collection of, you know, object in a multidimensional space. It can be a 1D matrix. So in that case, it's simply an array, a 1D array. So let's say students equal to S1, S2, S3. So this is a 1D list. But if I want to represent this kind of a structure, like a matrix, 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. So this is an identity matrix. Okay, so if I want to represent this in Python, I'll have to use, sorry, the multidimensional list. So let me just declare a variable array. So this will denote the outer uh, list, and then in that you will have multiple inner list representing each of these rows. So it will be 1 0 0 0 0 1 0, sorry, 0 1 0 and 0 0 1. And let me print this array. Okay, so it will show it in 2D. But what if I want to print it like this? So in the previous session, we saw how to access elements in the list. So if I want to access the first element, I'll simply write array of 0. And what is the first element? So what will be the output of this? Can anyone say or write here? Let me just stop presenting and share that particular tab. So if I just write array of 0 and execute it, what will be the output of the code? You can write the answer in chat.
100.
So will it be 100 or the list 100? Okay, so let me just execute it. So it will give me the inner list 100. Okay, similarly, if I do array of 1, it will give me 0 1 0. And if I do array of 2, it will give 0 0 1. Okay, so you can have any level of nesting. Fine. So now, what if I want to access this one over here? Let me zoom this in. So array of 0 will give me one list. Now this in this list, I want to access the first element. So that which will have index 0. So it will be array of 0 and 0, which is 1. Okay, similarly, array of 0, 1 is 0. Let me just write some numbers here. 1 2 3. So array of 0 1 is 2, 0 2 is 3, and so on. What if I want to access this 8? What will be the index?
2 2. Array of 2 2.
Okay, yeah, please, in such cases, please try to answer in chat so that everybody else also gets chance to answer. Yeah, is it clear to everyone? Yeah, that is correct. Array of 2 2. Sorry, it should be 2
2
1,
1.
not 2 1. Okay, so here you are trying to access 0 1 2, and in this particular list 0 1. So this is the 2 and 1 index. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is the query? Okay, fine. So now my query was like, what if you want to print this matrix in this format? Like when I'm printing it, print array, it is just printing this list over here. So for that, we will use a nested loop. Okay, so for I in range 3, because I want to go from 0 to 2, we'll see another way of writing this. For j in range 3, print array of I, J, and a comma, space. Okay. So what is happening over here? I'm looping over I from 0 to 2, looping over j from 0 to 3, and then printing the value of ij with a space after that. Or you need not do this. Let me just try this out. Okay. Yeah. So here, you're printing the array value, and then you're printing space over here. And then this statement denotes that you should not break the line here. You should continue in the same row. And then once all the values in this particular row are printed, then you move on to the next line by just printing /n denotes new line. Okay. And then for the other line, you are printing the values in that particular row. Is it clear, everyone?
Sir,
Yeah.
so two inverted commas means a space.
Two inverted commas, but with a space here. So if I were to write this, it means nothing, empty string. But this is a space.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir. Got it.
Yeah. If int is not given, in that case, it will just print everything on the next line, new line. Let me go. It will print it like this. Is it clear, Leela? Okay, fine. So this was about accessing array like 2D list. You can have, as we saw, you can have any level of nesting in the loops and the if else statement. Similarly, you can have any level of lists in Python. So let me just declare this. Let's say multi-dim list. I can have a list inside a list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let me just repeat this. Okay. Yeah. So just adding some values over here so that the numbers are distinct. So let's say I want to access this particular element here, number 4. So how will I do that? I've highlighted it over here. 4. So there is a list which contains a list, and there is another list in that. Any guesses? You can write it in chat.
One zero.
Yeah, so please note that there is a list in a list, and that particular list is there inside another list. Yeah, so I want to access this element 4. So let me show this entire list now. Yeah, using ijk, but what are the values of ijk? 000 will give you something else. Okay, let me just write this now. So if I write 0, 0, 0, oops, I have not run this. Let me execute this first and then run this. So this will give me 1. Okay, so let us break this down. Multidimensional list of 0 will give me this internal list. Okay, this particular list. Now, multidimensional list of 0, 0 will give me this list, but I want this particular list. So this is 0, 1. And now in this, I want this first element. So it will be 0. Is it clear, everyone? How we are accessing that particular element?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone who did not understand?
Sir, please repeat.
Okay. So what we're trying to do is to access this element 4, first of all, we need to access the outer list. Okay. So if we just do multi-dimension list of 0, it will give us the outer list, which is the first element in this list. Now, this is giving one list. In this list, we want to access 4, which is there in this particular list, which is at the position 2 or index 1. So for that, we were using index 1 for this multi-dimensional list of 0. Now we got this internal list. In this, 4 is it at index 0. So we are using 0 over here. So if there were like another list in this, let's say I'll add one more list to this. Let me just write 99, 98, 97. So I want to access 99. Let me just run this. So it will give me, sorry, I'll have to run this first. So 99, 98, 97, and 0 of that will be 99. So is it clear, everyone?
Yes,
So
sir.
there can be nesting
Yes,
at
sir.
any level. You just have to be careful about the index values and uh, how the list is defined. Okay. So what if I want to access? Okay, a quick thing. Let's say I want to access this 45. So how will I do that? How to get array element in runtime? Yeah, I'll come to that. So the 45 value to access that. Okay, so somebody said 210. Let us try that out. So multidimensional list of 2 will give us this list. In this, we want to access this particular list, which is at index 1. This will give us that particular list. And then in that, we want to access 45, which is 0. Okay. So this is the case with multidimensional list. So here is an example of creating a matrix. So matrix can be created. So this is the cleaner way of writing that. Same thing, whatever we have written here in this case. So you could have simply written it like a matrix, which is a list of multiple lists. Okay, and then if you want to access a particular element, you can give a proper index to that. Now coming to matrix addition. Yeah, somebody asked like how to get matrix, or like what was the query? Get array element in runtime. So you can simply use, so you can declare an array. Let me call it dynamic array. You can give any name to the variable. So this is an empty list, and let's say you want to access input, like add 3 elements to the list. So for I in range 3, a equal to input dynamic array dot append a. Okay. So if I write 1, 2, 3, and let me print this. So it is printing everything. So one thing you'll have to note, this A is being read as a string. So if you want to have the integers over here, you'll have to explicitly typecast it to integer. So I'll have to, we have discussed it in detail in the previous session. So you'll have to convert this string to an integer using this int function. Okay. So now let me just print. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3. So you can see that now everything is integer, of type integer. Is it clear? Uh, yeah, I'll come to that. First of all, is it clear? Like how you are reading single dimensional list? Okay. Now coming to multidimensional list. So in multidimensional list, you are seeing here. So what is the basic logic? You have the outer list, and then you have multiple inner lists. Okay. So first of all, let me just declare this same as matrix. And then inside this matrix, you have multiple inner list, and each list is having 3 elements. So what I'll have to do, let's say I have another list called row, and for let's say j in range 3, row dot append int of a, and then once this inner list is uh, completed, you can append that row to the matrix. So let me just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it has given the list. So what you are doing, you are looping over, first of all, the number of lists you have, and then for each list, you are looping over the number of elements in that particular inner list. This loop can go on to any level, like if you have like again nested, like you have list inside a list, so you can go on to any level. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Leela?
Ah, yes, sir. Yes, understood.
Okay. So this was about multidimensional lists and how you can access elements, and then how you can even read the multidimensional lists using nested loops. Okay, now coming to the matrix addition. So matrix addition, so if you have two matrices, let me just share this. So if you have two matrices, A and B, so matrix addition will simply add the corresponding elements like A11 with B11, A21 with B21, and so on. So how you can do that in Python? So let's say we have two lists, A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and B 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I want to add Aij with Bij. So simply, so this is like a very straightforward, like a single line way of writing this. Let me just comment this out. So first of all, what I will do for I in range. So what is the dimension of this list? Sorry, matrix. It's 3 cross. Anyone? What is the
3 cross
dimension
2.
of? Yeah. So
3
the
cross
dimension
2.
of each matrix is 3 cross 2. So
3
for
cross
I
2.
in range 3, for J in range 2, I want to first of all declare another matrix called result, okay, which will store the addition of these two matrices. So addition will be A of I j plus B of I j. Row dot append addition. So we are adding every element in the row and then appending it to that row list, like the internal list, and then this row will be appended to the external result. So let me just run this. Oops, there is a syntax error here. So it's a 2 cross 3, not a 3 cross 2. Yeah, here it is. So n cross m. So n is the number of rows and m is the number of columns. So you'll have to make sure that it is being accessed that way. So here I was looping over this I from range 0 to 3, and then this 3 was out of the bound because there is no third row in this list. Okay, so the dimension is 2 cross 3 and not 3 cross 2. But you could have written it like if you want to write, you can just write I in range 3 and j in range 0 to 2. But here the index will be different. So this is j and this is I. So you can do like this as well. So, so in this case, it is giving me the transpose of this particular matrix and not exactly the matrix itself. So you'll have to be very careful with this index and the range on which you are looping. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just run the previous code and see what the output was. We will compare the two results. If you change the index over here, I'll just write a comment here, incorrect code, so that you know that this is not a right way to do that. So what is happening over here? You are able to access the correct element if you write it this way. However, the way the dimensions of matrix are not the way you are assuming over here. So you can see, so this is 8, 10, 12, and in next row 14, 16, 18. So in this case, it is printing 8, 14, 10, 16, 12, 18, and so on. So you will have to be very careful while adding two matrices or performing any operation on two matrices. It will be clearer when we will see numpy arrays. In that case, you don't have to bother about all this kind of looping. You can simply write a plus b and it will give you the result of a plus b. We'll come to that shortly. So before we go into that part, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now coming to matrix multiplication again, let me not go into the detail, but this is a simple mathematics. So you are going over, so how does a matrix multiplication happen? Let me just share this. So you multiply each correspond. So for matrix multiplication, the matrix should be n cross n and m cross n. So if you want to multiply these two matrices, you will multiply each element. So a11 is multiplied with b11, a12 is multiplied with b21, and then addition of all these elements is taken. So a11 into b11 plus a12 into b21 and so on. So this is like the first element in the first row. Similarly, second row is a11 into b12 plus a12 into b22 and so on. So for this, first of all, so this is another way of accessing. So instead of hard coding it, like mentioning it beforehand that how many rows are there and how many columns are there, you can simply say len of A. It will give you the number of elements in this or number of rows in this particular matrix set. Everyone, please be on mute. So this will give me the number of rows. Then in this J, I'm getting the len of B0, which is uh, the number of elements in each column. Okay. And then I'm going on to, as we saw here, we have to sum over all the elements, right? Like multiply individual elements and then sum over all of them. So you need a third loop for that. For k in range B, A of ik into B of kj, and then you are adding all of this on all the values of k. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. So this is the k value over here. So this is changing. So 1 is fixed here, 1 is fixed here, like the column is fixed here, the row is fixed here. What is changing is this particular column index and the row index in this. So this is the k. So let us go back to Python. So you're adding I into k, I into ik into bkj, and then you're adding it and like multiplying it and then adding it to the result. And this will give you the result in the ijth entry in the result matrix. Okay, so I hope this particular logic is clear. Is it clear, everyone, how this
Yes, sir.
multiplication is happening? Okay, so let me just print this out. So the dimension of this particular matrix is 2 cross 2, and here also it is 2 cross 2. That's why the resultant matrix is 2 cross 2. If it were like this, 3 cross 2 and 2 cross 2, so the resultant will be 3 cross 2, which is shown over here. Okay, so n cross m into m cross k or L will give you n cross L tricks. Now, these are all operations that you're performing on lists. But what if I want to consider this as actual metrics? Like, so there is a library in Python called NumPy or numerical Python. So let me just share this. Okay, so this is meant for the numerical computing or the linear algebraic operations. So you can look into the details in this NumPy documentation. However, you need not know everything from here. You can simply search if you have any queries. You can just simply look into any forums for clarifying whatever queries you have relating to NumPy. So let me come back over here. So if yeah, so let's say if I have two lists, 1, 2, and B, 3, 4. So what will be, let's say I do C equal to A plus B and print C. So what will be the output of C? What would be the output in C? Anyone?
4, 6.
Okay, are you sure? Let me run this. So if you simply do this, it is going to concatenate the two lists. Okay,
Just add the list.
so it is just simply concatenating the list 1, 2, 3, 4. So this plus operator, if you use on the list, it will just simply concatenate them. What if, but you want to consider these as vectors? So what are these vectors? Okay, let me just draw on line. Okay, let's say I have this 2D space and I have one point here and another point here. This is index 1, 2, 1, and 2. I hope my screen is visible and you'll be able to see this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So this is one vector which has coordinates 1, comma 2, and this is another vector which has coordinates 2, comma 1. So those of you who know what vector addition is, so it will be simply addition of these two. So it will be 3, comma 3. Okay. So if you want to do all this kind of linear algebraic operations in which are very useful in physics and mathematics, you have to use something called numerical Python or NumPy library. You can also do it directly using the list, but you'll have to loop over every single element and add the corresponding element. So like if I were to do like this, let me just comment this out. So for I in range len of a, c dot append a of I plus b of I. In that case, you'll get 4 comma 6. But if I were to write only a c equal to a plus b directly, it will just simply concatenate that. But what if you want to treat these as vectors and not as this list? In that case, you have to use this NumPy library, and then I'm importing this NumPy library as NP. We saw it in the previous session that you can um, uh, have an alias for any library name. Okay, so I can import NumPy as npz or something, anything. So np is something which is commonly used by everyone. So we'll stick to that. And then if you want to convert a list, let's say, let us come here again. So a equal to 1 comma 2 and b equal to 3 comma 4. And what I'm doing over here is now, let's say it is a1. So I'll do np.array and convert it to array. b1 equal to np.array and add b over here. And if I write c equal to a1 plus b1, or let me just print this directly, a1 plus b1 and a plus b. So can you see the difference? This is converting this list to an array, and then you are when you do the addition operation, so it will treat it as a vector and perform a vector operation. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Please feel free to ask. Yeah. So now coming to the matrix addition and multiplication. So you can simply convert the 2D matrix, like the 2D list that we declared, to an array. And if you have two arrays, A, B, we can simply use A plus B. And for multiplication, you can simply use A add B. And then for transpose, you can use A dot T. So we'll come to this one by one. So you can see over here, A plus B, it is adding 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7, and 4, 8. Okay. And multiplication is, as we discussed, like 1 into 5 plus 2 into 7 and so on. Okay. So that is the multiplication. That is the easiest way of doing this. Instead of writing all this, complex code, you can simply write it as A plus B and A add B. And there is another way you can do that is using np dot dot. So this is the dot product. So for those of you who do not know what dot product is, let me just review. So dot product of two matrices is nothing but just the summation of the multiplication of corresponding elements. So A, B, C, D, W, X, Y, Z. So dot product is A into W plus B into Y. Sorry, this is the multiplication. Yeah, so here it is AX, BY, and CD, XY. Sorry, CX, DY. But if you want the corresponding elements to be added, like let's say you want to only do A into W here, B into X, C into Y, and D into Z. Okay, let me just see for any good example here. Yeah, so this is the element wise multiplication that is happening. Okay, let us try this in Python directly. So you can see that this is also going to give you the same result as this because it does the element-wise multiplication instead of the. Okay, and then add them up. Is it clear, everyone? Like what's happening over here? So these two functions are doing the same job. This is not a function. So this is an operator which is operating on these two matrices. And then this dot product is simply taking the same matrix is doing the same matrix multiplication operation as shown over here. Is it clear, everyone? Yeah, please let me know like if you have any query, I'll explain it again. So for element-wise multiplication, if you want to multiply, the corresponding elements, just like 1 into 5, 2 into 6, 3 into 7, let us see. There must be something in. So there is this np dot multiply. Let us try this out. So you can see over here, okay, let me just check it once. So we have over here A as 1, 2, and 3, 4. And B as 5, 6, and 7, 8. So 1 is getting multiplied with 5. So you see 5 over here. 2 is getting multiplied with 6. So you have 12 over here. 3 is getting multiplied with 7. So you have 21 over here. And 4 is getting multiplied with 8. So this is 32 over here. So this is cleaner this way. It's a little confusing to, like see in this particular format. So I hope this is clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think the star operator, it doesn't apply. So let us try using that. So if we use star here, I've never done this. Yeah, so the star is equivalent to np.multiply. So this will do the element-wise multiplication in for arrays. Is it clear, Leela? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And transpose is simply transposing the matrix. So like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you transpose it, it will become 1, 3, 2, 4. So you can see 1, 3, 2, 4. Okay. So A dot T will give you the transpose of the matrix. Okay. And after this, there is this short concept of date time. We'll discuss date time in detail later, but I think it was discussed in one of the lectures in this week. So I'm just touching upon that, but we'll come to this later as well. So date time is a format in Python. So like if you just type, if you print the type of this variable over here, A, so it's numpy nd array. So if it were like 2D array, so for example, A1, let me just print it over here. So you can see that for any numpy array, the data type is numpy.nd array. And then if it were just list, you will see the type as list. So numpy array is another data type that we have seen so far. So we saw int, float, bool, string, list, and numpy array or numpy nd array. Okay. And now datetime is another format or type that we'll be seeing now. So there is a variable now that we are declaring. Datetime is a library in which you can get the current time. So this is the way in which you can try accessing the current time. Let me just print this. Let me comment out everything. So for those of you who don't know how to like comment multiple lines at a time, so you can just simply select that and do control forward slash or command forward slash if you're using Mac. So it is comment. I'm commenting out everything over here, and let me just run this. So it will give me the date, year, month, date, and the current time. So I think this is in some other time zone. So if you want to print it in some particular time zone, so let me just see. Even I'm not sure. I've never used it. Yeah. So it gives you the output in UTC. So if you want to do, yeah. So there is something called as time zone. So here I'm importing this another library, zone info, and from that I'm taking this zone info and giving this date time. So here I'll have to use. So you can see that the current time is being displayed in this particular time zone, Asia Kolkata. Is it clear? Are there any queries? It will also show you how much is the delay compared to uh, the actual UTC. So you can look more into the documentation of this particular library if you have any queries. Okay. And then once you have declared this variable now, you can even print uh, every element in this particular string. So for example, I want to extract the year, month, day, hour, minute, second from this particular time object. So I can just simply do now dot year, now dot month, now dot day, and so on. Similarly, if you want to format it in specific format, like in this case, it is like year, month, date, and then hour, minute, second. But let us try to print this out. So if you want the date to be uh, appearing first, you can just simply write date, month, year, and then hour, minute, second, and so on. Okay, is it clear, everyone? Clear, not clear? Please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Understood.
Okay, so you can move this like any way. You can put this time ahead of the date and all, and run this. It will appear in whatever format you want it to be. Similarly, like let me just print the type of this object now or variable now. So it will show me it is of the type date time dot date time. Okay, so if I have a string, I read a string from the user which has this date written over here in this format. So this is the default format in which you write date. So if I want to convert it to date time format, I can simply write the date string and the format in which I am getting the input from the user. So this is like year, month, date, and hour, minute, second. Okay. So this is the converted date for this. So let me just print this now. So type of date string is a string and converted date is a date time object. Is it clear? So you can perform any operation on that. So I can, once you have this converted date, you can just say converted date dot year. Sorry, and it will give you the year. But if you were to do it on string, so it will just simply throw an error. Attribute string object has no attribute here. So this is for your information. Like if you want to deal with, multiple dates, and then if you want, you can do other operations as well. In date, you can just add certain time to certain date. Sorry, another time you can do addition of dates. Like if you want to add 5 days, let's say, to the current date, you can do that as well. So we'll see that in detail in the later week. For now, this was just a simple introduction to this datetime library, and we'll move on to file handling, and then we'll look into some problems and then conclude the session. So file handling is used to, uh, read and read data from file and write data to file. So if I want to create a file called myfile.txt, so I can do this using this syntax with open myfile.txt. So this is the name of the file and in what mode you want to open it. Okay, so you can either open it in read mode. So in that case, you'll have to write R, or write mode, or append mode. So we'll see what is the difference between all these different modes. So with open myfile.txt and write as file.write hello from Google Colab. This is the second line. So let me just run this and refresh it. So you can see that it has created this. So this file was not existing. So it has created this. Let me just open it here. And I'll double click here. And you can see that it has created a file called myfile.txt. And then it has added this hello from Google Colab. /n means new line. And then this is the second line. It has added this to the second line. So is this particular part clear? Like how we are writing it to the file? Date time concept, it will come to, I think in one of the lectures, this date time is used in this week. So you can check that out. Uh, it was something related to birthday, guessing the birthday or something like that. I don't remember exactly. And then if you want to deal with any time objects in any of the problem, like let's say um, any flight management system or something. So in that case, you will need this date time object. Okay. So yeah. So is this part clear, like about file handling? So you are opening this myfile.txt. If it does not exist, it will create that file. So what if okay, we'll come to the read part later. Let us run this one. So with open myfile.txt in read mode as file, so this file is the object which will point to this particular file, and then using this you can access the content of the file, or you can write something to the file in whatever mode you are opening the file. Okay, so let me just read. So with open myfile.txt in read mode as file, I'm taking the input, I'm doing this file.read. It will read all the content of the file and then store it in this variable content, which is a string. And then I'm just printing this content. Okay. So what if a file does not exist and I try to read it? So let's say my file one. There's no such file called my file one, and I try to read it. So it says file not found error, because there is no such file. But in this case, if the file does not exist, it will create that and then write the content to the file. It will not say that the file does not exist. It will create a file and then write to that particular file. But if you try to read something from a file which does not exist, so you will get this file not found here over here. Okay. So what if I have this already existing file, myfile.txt, and I open it in write mode. And let's say this time I'm writing hi. So it has written in the previous execution, it wrote hello from Google Colab. This is second line. And what if I want to write this thing and I run this? Let me refresh it. So can you see that the previous content of the file got overwritten? So it does not exist now, because if you open something in write mode and do certain operation on it, it is going to write the entire, overwrite the entire content of the file and replace it with whatever you are writing over here to the file. So you'll have to be very careful with using this write uh, mode over here. There is another mode called append. So if you open myfile.txt in append mode as file and write to it, it will simply append it to the new line without overwriting the content of the file. So let me just run this over here and also refresh it. So you can see that there is another line appended to it. So if you are opening it in write mode and doing something, it will overwrite the existing content. But if you are opening it in append mode, it will write to the file without overwriting the existing content. Is it clear, everyone? This is simple read, write, and append operation that you can do in Python.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. And there is this simple library. Okay, so this is just an introduction to OS. You will see this also in detail in later weeks. So OS is used to, see the directory content or perform certain operations like creating directories or files. So you can use this OS library for that. So let me just run this. So os.listdir will list all the content of the current directory. So it has this .config, which is a hidden file. Please ignore this. And then there is this myfile.txt, and there is this folder called sample underscore data. Okay, so this will list the current file. So it will give you a list, and then you can loop over all these elements in the list if you want to do some further processing. And if you want to remove, let's say like for myfile.txt, you can simply write os.remove and the file name. So if I refresh, that file is deleted. So this was all about OS directory, sorry, OS library. Then we saw datetime library in this session. We saw NumPy and its usage. And then we saw multidimensional lists. Then we also saw uh, nested loops and nested conditions. So let us quickly check some of the questions. There are other things some of which we have seen in the previous session, like trim mean and mean mode median, like in the statistics library and the random. So I won't discuss it now, but we'll come to this later when we'll discuss everything in detail. Okay, so suppose there is a movie. Okay, so this is a warm-up question. Suppose there is a movie with 3 letters. How many combination of names are possible? Okay, Leela, I'll discuss it. You can use a calculator if you want to. So there is a movie with 3 letters. So how many combination of names are possible? Please think over it. Everyone, please try to answer in chat. So let me explain. Okay, let's say you have a movie name with 3 letters. In each position, you can have A to Z. So how many letters are there in total? 26. So in total, what are the possibilities? 26 into 26 into 26. So the answer is 17576. Is it clear? It's a basic mathematics. Nothing else.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was
Yes, sir.
just for warm. Okay. So this is a question. Dash is a method to insert an item into a specified position in a list. We discussed this in the last session. Everybody please try to answer. Okay. So the answer is insert. Which method returns the number of occurrences of an element in a list? Okay. Yeah. So the correct answer is count. We have discussed all this in the previous session. So this is just a recap. A function random dot randint 1 to 100 in Python generates You have to be very careful in this case. Yeah, please answer in chat. Okay, so the correct answer is both inclusive. So let me go over here on this slide. So you can see random gives both in inclusive start and end. Random gives you a value between 0 and 1 with 0 inclusive and 1 excluded. And rand range gives you value between start and end with start inclusive and end exclusive. Okay,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
So when will you start magic square part?
Magic square, uh, actually it is covered in the lecture. So you can refer to that lecture. It is simply nothing but like matrix operations that are being performed. So magic square is nothing but a matrix. So I'll urge you to look back into the lecture. But if there is something specific that you would like to discuss, I can discuss it in the next session maybe. But it is discussed in the lecture recording, so please do refer to that. I
Okay,
wanted to
sir.
discuss, the syntax of various things in Python so that you don't face any difficulty understanding the concepts that are discussed in the lecture. But yeah, I can discuss it in the next class if there is a time.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, so file. Okay, I have not discussed this earlier. So the method open file1.txt r plus opens the file 1.txt in, for those of you who know. Yeah, so it is read write mode. So it says that you open it in read mode plus means like you also open it in write mode as well. So it is primarily opening this file in read mode, but you can also write to that file. But if you just open it in read mode and try to write something to it, so it will just throw an error. So if you just open it over here, let's say in read mode, and then if you try to write file dot write hello, so it will just throw. Okay, let me just write. So I'll have to create this file. So unsupported operation not writable because this is opened in read mode only. But what if I write r plus here? So in this case, okay, yeah. So you can see over here, it is trying to append it over here to the end of the file. Not used in Python, do and do while loop. Yeah, so Rudra, there is a thing called as do while in Python. So it's there in C. We discussed it in the first or second or third lecture. So please refer to that. So Python only has for and while loop constructs. So there is no do while loop construct in Python, but you can definitely write the like the way do while is written, like the kind of operation do while does, you can also do that using for and while loop. Okay, so is this clear everyone? Like this R plus mode. So it is opening the file in read mode, but you know, also trying to write to the file. If I were to write this hello to a new line, then I'll have to write explicitly slash in over here. And let me, Okay, so can you see over here? So earlier hellos were like getting appended in one single line that at the end of the uh, file. But if you want a new line explicitly to be added, you'll have to add this slash n or write it over here. File dot right. Sorry, slash n and then write hello. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so coming over here. So it opens the file in read write mode. Now consider the list L. What will be the output of the statement L 3 to 6? Okay, can someone please answer? So as we discussed in the last session, this index will be inclusive and this index will be exclusive. So what is the index 3 element? 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will go from 3 to 5. 3, 4, 5. So it will be 2, 3, and 5. So 2, 3, 5 over here. So answer is A. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
If anything is not clear, please interrupt and I'll be happy to explain it again. Okay. So there is one operator that we did not see last time, I think. So it's called uh okay, let us see this in Colab. Please just be on the call. It's a bitwise operator, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to explain it now in this session. So in how many of you know about uh, binary numbers? Okay, okay. So let me not confuse you right now. We'll discuss this operator later, maybe in the later part of this course. So I'll skip this for the time being. So please avoid this question for the time being. Yeah, I'll come to that later. I may need some time to explain that to you. So I'll skip all this for now. Like you can try solving this. I'll share all these slides with you so you can, you know, sorry, check this later at your own convenience and try to solve them. So the answers are also given over there. So
Yes,
please try to solve these problems. And if you face any difficulty, you can definitely take this code and try to execute it in Colab or whatever media you are comfortable with. So please do that. And yeah, if there are any queries, please feel free to ask me in the later next session. Next session will be on the coming Friday, which is 21st of February from 6 to 8 p.m. Yeah. So I saw there was a query from one of the assignments. So can someone please mention that again? There is a query from assignment 1, question 10. So let me go back. to question number 10. I think we have discussed this in one of the sessions. Who was this? Leela. So yeah, I'll recommend
Actually, you said
you
next class you will explain.
in.
Last class we are asked that. You said next class I will explain that.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Ah,
I
yes.
thought I okay, I see. My bad. Sorry for that. So I'll definitely explain it in the beginning of the next session. So please do remind me on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make sure to discuss this because this is going to take some time. I just remember that we discussed something related to this, but I was not aware that we did not discuss this specific problem. Okay, but yeah, definitely I'll try to run this in Scratch, or let me just try it now if possible. Okay, so let us be quick. I'll share a window now just to okay. So we have this variable x which is set to 0. So in this we'll have to go to make a variable x, make a variable y, and then set x to 0, set y to 0. Then we have a repeat loop which is repeating 18 times. Then we have a wait which is in the control for 1 second, and then set x to x, which doesn't make sense, but you're just assigning the value of x to x direct. Similarly, you are setting y, sorry, to y, then change x by 1. You are adding 1 to x, and set y to. So there is a multiple addition happening over here and subtraction and then multiplication. So we will have to use three operators. So first addition, okay. Set y to addition. Then you have subtraction here. And in that, you're subtracting 0 minus x into x. So there is a multiplication operation happening here. And then 17 into x. Okay, so let me run this. So x1, y is 30. So x is going from 1 to, let's see, till 18. Or 17 since it is starting from 0. Yeah, and 18. Okay, fine. So x is 0 initially, y is 0, and this is getting repeated 18 times. It is setting x to x. So the initial value of x was 0, setting y to y. So initial value of y was also 0. Then change x by 1. So now x will contain 1 and y will contain 0 minus x into x. So x is right now 0. Sorry, x is now 1. So it will be 1 into 1. 0 minus 1 will be minus
Excuse me,
1.
sir.
Mhm.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Yeah.
actually, I understood all the loop, and
Mhm.
finally, x value is 18. So that,
Mhm.
but what the question they have asked is how many steps it was away. So it was actually 17 away steps from the center,
Wait,
but
wait.
x value is 18 after iteration.
Oh yeah, x value has
X
become
value
80. Yeah, x value
18,
is
but
18.
it's
Yeah.
okay, but it
So
is 17 away steps from the center.
okay,
But the answer what we want to click is
moves
and
the ball
stops
in
is
a.
17 away steps.
No, 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 no. So it is saying after this entire thing is executed, what is the final
Yes,
value of x and y? So
sir,
after
they
this,
haven't asked for X value, no, sir. They have asked that it stops 18 away steps or 17 away steps from the center. So
yeah.
from the
So
center, it is
one away
stopping at
step.
17.
No, no, no. X value is becoming 18. That's why it's stopping 18 steps away. So if
Sir, but
x is
its
1,
position is
yeah,
17, comma 0, no, sir.
no, no, its position is 18 comma negative 18 towards the end.
So finally, it is stopping at 17, comma
No, no.
zero.
If you see here, the x position x is after executing all these things, x has become 18 and y has become negative 18. So the final position of this cat will be 18 comma negative 18. Like
Sir,
if you are setting the
actually,
position over here, here they are not setting the position explicitly here, but assuming that they're setting the position to x comma y, so the value of x is 18. So from 0, it has moved to 18 steps ahead. So if there is this motion and then there is this set x to x and set y to y. So if I run this, let us see at the end of the execution. So finally, when set x becomes 18, so it has moved. So you can see that the current position of cat is 18 and negative 18. So it has moved 18 steps ahead. Means if it were 1, then it is 1 step ahead, 2, 2 step ahead. Since it is 18, it's 18 step away. Is it clear?
okay. Okay, sir, I will check it. Ah,
Yeah. So from 0, 0, it is 18 steps away. That is the x coordinate of that.
okay, sir.
Okay. So if you want to, see the motion of cat, you can also see it over here. So you can see that it is moving like, in a parabolic shape. So it's going up and then going down. So this is like x square. So negative x square plus 17x. So the function is y equal to negative x square plus 17x. So it's moving in this way. You can even plot this. Okay, so this is the curve. Okay, so yeah, this is the one. So we will stop it over here. So if you have any queries, please let me know in the next class. I hope it is clear now. Okay, so thank you
Yes,
for,
sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, yeah, thank you for joining. We'll end the session today. Thank you. Okay. Thank you
Thank
everyone
you,
for
sir.
joining.
Hello,
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
sir. Apart from that, anaconda and spider, which one is suitable for us?
you can use Colab if you want to. Google Colab,
Collapse,
Google Colab,
Google
whatever.
collapse, and yeah, actually,
So
my laptop is not.
yeah, you can use Google Colab. You can even use
So
it
that's why I'm
on
asking.
any device. So it will be stored, whatever you are using, it will be stored to your cloud. So you can access it from any device you are using.
Sir, actually, your voice is breaking. Can you repeat it, please? Sorry for that.
Yeah. So whatever Colab notebooks you are creating, it will be stored in your Google account. So you can access it from any,
Okay,
device.
okay, sir, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's Google
Hmm.
Colab. You can note it down. Okay. Fine then.
Got it. It is available in the. Okay, I will check it out. Okay,
So you just type it out like Google Colab. Okay, let me just share that.
okay.
So just
If you want, you
search.
can share it in the chat box, sir.
Yeah, just search Google
The link,
Colab.
maybe.
Yeah, I'll search it over here. Yeah. So I've shared the link as well in chat.
Okay, sir.
So
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah,
So
got it.
I hope the session was useful and you learned something from this session. Thank you for
Yeah, sir.
joining.
Thank you. Okay, sir. You too.